May I now call upon Professor Kerigyera. Sorry for the pronunciation.
Good afternoon. Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I really have problems with this book. I have been at this game for the last 38 years. I have run a statistics office at policy level. I have worked with international organizations. I was the first director of the African Center for Statistics when a number of things we are talking about, including the theme for the ASSD this year, were started. So I picked this book. I read it very well. And last year I participated in the conference where the book was launched in Canada. I've listened to the professor giving a talk on BBC about statistics in Africa. And the book has been reviewed by international magazines and newspapers. In fact, the Globe and Mail of 13th November 2013 claims that this book is leading to significant statistical reforms. But also, this book comes on the heels of the unfortunate paper written by the chief economist for African region of the World Bank on statistical tragedy in Africa, very, very unfortunate. But also it comes on the heels of the questioning we are hearing from the West on whether Africa is actually rising based on the current statistics. So, Chair, I have a number of issues with this book, but I don't have enough time to go into details of these issues. Therefore, my presentation will be rather generic. And like Pali, I'll be more interested in talking about actually what the book fails to talk about, rather than what it talks about. Now, the book is in two parts. And the first part is on poor numbers. And it talks about the various challenges that we face in statistical production and management in Africa. The second part is about what it is that we can do about the situation. Now, on the first part, as you know, we have had challenges. These challenges have been well identified, they have been well articulated, and they're also very well documented by Paris 21, in the Marrakesh Action Plan for Statistics, in the Reference Regional Strategic Framework for Statistical Capacity Building in Africa, in the African Charter on Statistics, in the SHASA, the Strategy for Harmonization of Statistics in Africa, and the various assessments that have been undertaken by regional organizations, but also assessments undertaken in the context of the design of the NSDS, National Strategy for the Development of Statistics, by the countries themselves. Now, these challenges, it has been recognized, are not insurmountable. And as a matter of fact, some of these assessments and initiatives I'll be talking about provide a roadmap and principles to be followed to address the challenges. So the first part of the book on statistical challenges really does not tell us anything that we already did not know. But of course, it might be new discovery and new knowledge for Professor Javen and other people who lack proximity to Africa. But let me also add that the book adds a little bit of historical detail and color to the discussion of the challenges. It does a little bit of sensationalization, but basically, as I've indicated, it does not tell us anything new about the challenges of statistical production management in Africa. And the book also does not give a positive outlook of statistical development in Africa. And in fact, on the contrary, I read in the book a lot of what I would call Afro-statistical pessimism. And indeed, the negative title of the book is telling. Now, I have three methodological issues that I need to talk about regarding this book. We are told in the book that the author visited a number of statistical offices in Africa to collect information. And I have heard from some heads of statistics offices who are visited that actually the author sneaked into the office, says, talked to low-level staff, and really did not get the full picture of what happens in some of these offices. Secondly, I want to fault the author, as Barry has pointed out, for failure to consult some key players in statistical development in Africa. In particular, we have regional economic communities which are playing a fairly significant role in statistical development. Within those communities, at continental level, we have African Union Commission, we have ADB and ECA, which are really playing a big role in statistical development in Africa. In fact, in the case of ECA, this work started in 1958 when this organization was established to foster development in Africa. And the Statistics Division was the first division established by the UN Economic Commission for Africa. I also fault the author for failure to consult African statistical elders, like Chief Ajayi, former Director General of the Federal Office of Statistics Nigeria, like Lamine Diop, who won the Professor P.C. Mahanobis International Prize for Statistics last year. And of course, Pari, the father of modern statistics in Africa. And the list is long. And these giants are embodiments of African history on statistical development. I think you would have been well off getting in touch with them to pick a few things from them. But they also have problems with the language used in the book. In fact, in some parts of the book, there's talk about negotiating numbers. I don't know of any statistics office where these numbers are negotiated. But also, there is some insinuation about political influence in the production of statistics, things which I have not seen happen in our statistics offices. Let me go to the second part of the book. And if I may quote from the book, the professor says it is very easy to show that numbers are wrong, but it is more difficult to know what to do about the situation. And he says this book discusses what can and should be done to improve the guidelines for both producing and using statistics. But failure by the author to consult key players in statistical development in Africa mentioned above creates a serious knowledge gap that badly reduces the relevance and value of the book. But also, secondly, the book omits what has been done and what is being done to address the challenges that we face. And without this knowledge, the book purports to propose solutions. And of course, it does not do a good job at proposing solutions. It just mentions capacity building, mentions statistical reforms and funding for statistics without any elaboration at all. But as you know, these are very complex issues which we have been addressing systematically in Africa using homegrown solutions and initiatives, as well as, of course, initiatives from the international community. So finally, what are we doing to address statistical challenges? Very many things are being done. It is mentioned in the book, and I quote, that at present there is no coherent global strategy for improving the provision of data for development monitoring. Of course, this is wrong. I mean, it's not just one strategy. We have a myriad of strategies. You run down from the UN Fundamental Principles of Official Statistics. You come down the work of the UN Statistical Commission, a major pillar in statistical work across the world. We have the Marrakesh Action Plan for Statistics. It has now been revised. We have what we call a Botswana Action Plan for Statistics. We have International Comparison Program. We are talking about economic statistics. This program, which was established in 1970, and only one African country participated in that program in 1970, has done a lot to improve economic statistics. I can tell you that, for instance, in the 1993 round, 48 African countries participated. 2005 round of this program, we had 50 countries participating. And in 2011 round, we had all the countries, virtually all the countries participating. And ADB, African Development Bank, has used this program as a springboard for building a statistical capacity program for Africa. And in fact, the World Bank has commended the ADB using these words, and I quote, "The ICP capacity building activities will also build on relevant best practices, such as the African Development Bank's program, strengthen statistical capacity in African countries under the framework of ICP Africa." At continental level, we have been able to align governance structures for statistics. We have a statistical commission for Africa and a committee of directors general. Go down to regional economic communities, we have statistics committees. And when you go to the national level, we have statistical coordination committees. And in recent past, we have come up with a myriad of initiatives. You can't believe it. This symposium has done a lot to bring to the policy makers the need of support and use statistics. I can't say too much about this. The book actually talks about agricultural statistics. We have an action plan for implementation of the global strategy on agricultural statistics. Africa was the first region in the world to pick a global strategy endorsed by the UN Statistical Commission and put in place an action plan. And I can tell you that all other regions in the world are coming to Africa. I have 2 minutes. Are coming to Africa to learn from us. The Charter on Statistics was endorsed by heads of state. Civil registration and vital statistics, the countries and other regions are coming to learn from what we are doing. The list goes on and on. And since we have ladies here, let me also mention that we have a very, very active program that we started around 2009 on gender statistics. Up to that time, gender statistics was not understood. But now, I think everybody realized the need to mainstream gender statistics in national statistical programs. At regional level, we have regional statistical programs. I'm finishing chair. And they are focusing on harmonization of statistics in the regions to support regional economic integration. And in recent years, some regional economic communities have put in place regional statistical development plans, like COMESA, SADC, and East African Community. And finally, at national level, I'm happy to inform my good professor that countries in Africa have designed and are implementing the national strategy for the development of statistics, which, if properly designed and implemented, have a great potential to deliver what everybody is now calling the data revolution as part of the post-2015 development agenda. Let me mention that, in fact, Africa is the cradle of this strategy. It is the cradle of NSDS, and Paris 21, which is at the cutting edge of statistical advocacy, and also which is promoting very heavily the NSDS, is itself a reincarnation of the Addis Ababa Plan of Action for Statistical Development in Africa in the 1990s, which was endorsed by African ministers responsible for planning. And so far, more than half the countries in Africa are implementing this strategy, and about another third are either designing it or they are waiting its adoption. And very, very finally, Chair, actually, my forthcoming book on the dawning of a statistical revolution in Africa is expected to go well beyond what my good professor has written about statistical challenges. In that book, I will be providing more informed and nuanced narrative about statistical development in Africa, and of course by someone who has been part of the exciting statistical work in the continent for 38 years. So I'll stop here, Chair, but I'll end by asking two rhetorical questions. And the first question is, which equation is Professor Javen trying to solve? And the second question is, on whose behalf is he working on statistical development in Africa? I rest my case. Thank you.